Hey beauties, welcome to the Clean Beauty Podcast. Did you know that unlike most everything else in America, cosmetics are not regulated? This means that corporations can use thousands of potentially harmful ingredients that I personally know can cause health problems. I'm your host, Cassandra McClure. I've been in the beauty business for over 10 years as a celebrity makeup artist that advocates for safer and more sustainable cosmetics. Join me each week for important news, exclusive interviews, and more on the clean beauty revolution. This episode is made possible in part by my work with Beauty Counter. As a consultant, I now have freedom and a life I've always wanted with a flexible schedule, a career where I get to work from home, and I get way more time with the people that I love. At Beauty Counter, my job is simple: to get safer products into the hands of everyone. It fulfills me to change lives for the better. I've also met amazing women and became friends with many new ones that have joined my team. If you are ready to up-level your life and chase your dreams, shoot me an email at cassandra@cleanbeautypodcast.com.
So I think we met in the EWG pop-up in San Francisco earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of started our journey about learning about each other and about ENA Organic. So I grew up in Taiwan. That's how I kind of got into the Taiwanese beauty and clean beauty per se type of circle, because my mom herself, she's a chemical teacher, professor now, and she's always been big about finding clean ingredients, and she's always been very dubious about what's in the market, especially because if you're a chemical background, you know, like all these ingredients that you read on the back of products, and she's always reading them and telling me like, oh, this is bad, you shouldn't use this. And so I grew up kind of in this lab type of cosmetics world where my mom would actually go mix up her own stuff, and she would actually test it on her own arms or like sunscreen, and then she would be like, okay, we have like block 1, 2, 3 on my arm, and then we'll see which one works better, and I want to make sure all the ingredients are good. And so I kind of grew up knowing like there are chemicals that we want to look out for in the ingredients of our skincare products in particular. And but I wasn't really working in the cosmetics industry or chemical industry per se. I was actually of a banking background, worked in a big company for the past 10 years before I decided I was going to make a bit of a different step and start working with my mom and some of my friends who are in the beauty industry looking for safe products. Hence brings me to ENA Organic. We are a company actually based out of Taiwan, started out in Taiwan in 2016. Our founder, Cecily, she wanted to find basically what I also wanted, basically to find products that are safe and have ingredients that you're comfortable using with like everyone in your family, including your kids, because her kids has very sensitive skin issues as well. And so that's where ENA Organic came from. ENA itself means child in Taiwanese. And so that's kind of like the brand and what the company stands for. We want to create clean, effective, safe ingredient products that are natural for all our users to use.
Okay, that's good information, but if I'm playing devil's advocate, I talk a lot about how when we're getting products from overseas, they're not regulated. So what are the standards there? Like, how is it better than, what we're seeing in the marketplace where, none of the ingredients are being tested, and even if they say they are, they're not being third-party tested or batch tested and all of that.
Yeah, so that's a super good question. And we really love this question whenever it comes up, because it means whoever asks it really knows what they're asking about. So for all of ENA Organic's products in the States that you see on our US website, they are, first of all, FDA approved. So that's kind of like the first step of getting overseas products, I would say, properly on the US market, because you have to pass local regulations, which is the FDA regulations. And if you've been listening to Clean Beauty podcast long enough, or if you're in the industry, you would know that the FDA regulation isn't really that strict, or at least not strict enough for clean ingredients. There are still a lot of chemicals that are going into FDA approved products on the shelf. And so knowing that, when we launched our company and product, Cecily, the founder, and Jimmy, the co-founder, they wanted to find a regulation or standard that is globally known and is of a high enough standard that can basically certify that whatever we're putting out there is really with safe ingredients. And we hold ourselves to the highest standards available on the market. Which is basically in the US, we are EWG verified, and we're also dually certified with the European COSMOS organic certification. So I think it might be helpful to give a little bit of background between the two of them. These are two different certifications. EWG really talks about having clean ingredients, like little chemical. They have a database of all the chemicals that shouldn't go into skincare products, and that's the US certification that we are verified for. And the COSMOS natural verification talks about how natural and how organic a product is. A lot of products on the market say they're natural and they're organic, but to be very honest, they're not. There's not a clear definition of what is natural and what is organic and how you can brand yourself as organic or natural. But with the Cosmos Organic, they have a certain standard on how much percentage of ingredients have to be organically produced to be called organic and to brand yourself as Cosmos Organic certified.
Just like food. That makes sense.
Yes.
Label for that. But I still am playing devil's advocate because this is fun. So EWG. Okay, so there's EWG and there's the EU. But am I wrong that EU still only bans about 1,400 ingredients, whereas Beauty Counter, for example, bans 1,500, and the EU still allows 1,000 potentially harmful ingredients? So, like fragrance, right? Isn't that still allowed in the EU? I mean, it's the main like for me, that was the biggest problem. So the EU still wouldn't make a difference for me per se.
Yeah, so playing the devil's advocate, that's why for Organic, it was important to get both certificates. So our products are all dually certified, meaning like with your concern regarding the EU standards, it's not, in terms of fragrance, it's not as high in a way, or not as stringent as the US standards. So that we're covered with. But also replying to your question, I think these two certifications, from understanding their definitions, they're actually regulating a bit of a different direction. Normally when I come across people asking me, I tell them the EWG verification really talks more about caters to the clean ingredients issue. So your question about fragrance and what is a fragrance is really totally defined in the EWG verification. But like you said, in Europe, they do allow certain types of fragrance that are kind of, in their definition, less harmful to the skin to still be included. So I wouldn't say which verification is more strict, because they kind of cater to different type of standards. One is the EWG looking for clean ingredients, and the COSMOS verification is really more about organic and natural products, if that makes sense.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you clarified that, just because I've personally been getting a lot of questions about it, and knowing that we had kind of met at the EWG event, I was just not 100% like, I guess, just knowledgeable about everything that EWG stands for. So I also saw that there was a couple other brands there that I was like, oh, like Herbal Essence made a formula, right, that was like considered clean. And I was just, I don't know. I heard a lot of bad things about that, so I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah, so it was funny because, like you mentioned, Herbal Essence was actually right next to us, and so just by way of introduction, a very brief blurb of what EWG verified skin products mean. Basically, EWG itself is an environmental working group. If you have known them, they've been around for a very long time, and previously they've been putting out more information about food. I also get emails from them right now. They're talking about pesticides, and so they every year they put out like what are the 15 clean ingredients and what are the 15 clean like fruits and vegetables and what are the 10 probably dirtiest fruits and vegetables. So this is kind of where EWG Group started out working for. They're a nonprofit organization based out of DC. But recently, I think, if I'm not wrong, I might be wrong, but 2 to 3 years ago, they've started a database called Skin Deep Database, and they've started verifying also skin products. So they've moved out of just purely agricultural food, things we use. There's also, so they basically wanted to focus on this beauty industry because we realized that there's really not that much regulations in the States taking care of things that really go onto our skin every day. And it accumulates throughout our lives. And it's scary to think about, especially like from teenage days onwards. We've been always applying lotion. You're a makeup artist, you know that like how much makeup we put on our face every day. And this all accumulates, and it could affect our hormones and a lot of other health issues as well. So EWG really wanted to kind of focus on skin and beauty products as well. So they created the Skin Deep database, and they also start allowing companies to provide more information and get EWG verified. So to get EWG verified, you need to provide full ingredient transparency. So you'll see all the ingredients that go into the bottle you use printed on the bottle itself. And it has to use good manufacturing practices. Basically, ENA Organic doesn't do any animal testing as well. And it also has to avoid EWG's chemicals of concern. So they have a list of 60,000 database right now, I think, of chemicals that cannot go into the products that are EWG verified. So that caters to your fragrance concern as well. Parabens, all these other chemicals that we often hear about.
That's great. I love that you're dual certified. But I do also have a question about that regarding costs. So I know there are some amazing brands, like small indie brands that I've been talking to, and they expressed that they were not certified because of the cost.
Yeah. I think that's kind of also a brand strategy and decision to start with, to be very honest. We know like you said, if you're a smaller brand or an indie brand just starting out, it's a choice of whether, I would say when I'm talking to the founder, Cecily, she's a friend of ours. So she also kind of put it out there and said, she's an accountant background, and she knows that a lot of times standards and official standards are there for a protection for consumers. Like if you put yourself in a consumer's shoes, you also kind of want to know what's going in there and whether any third party or like neutral third person is testing it out. And this is our way of showing that we want to make products that are safe and people can trust. Not saying that any brand that isn't certified can't be trusted, but I think it's really a brand strategy to start out and say we want to put out a certain amount of fixed costs. It's sunk cost, to be very honest, because we've also destroyed batches and batches of products to make sure that they apply to the standards of user experience and the verification. But yeah, like you said, it's costly, but we think it's worth it. We've heard feedback from our clients throughout the last 2 years while we were in Taiwan. The retention rate for user buyback is very high, and we see that it's more of a decision that we have put down cost and put down investments for the long run, and the brand's in for the long run. So that's kind of this brand's choice at this point in time.
Great. So I want to get into the fun stuff now. We talked about all the business stuff. So you travel a lot, and so do I, and I know a lot of our listeners too. Even short flights for me going into LA or Palm Springs, like dry out my skin so much. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how traveling is, how to care for your skin when you're traveling and what you can do to, um, and maybe for different types. So if there's something more for oilier skin and then maybe something for drier skin, if you have some tips and tricks.
Yeah, perfect question. So Ina Organic is a face mask company to start with. We do have other skincare products now, like face oil, face lotion, cleanser, which I think you've also used, and we also have lotion, body lotion, but we actually started out with face masks because, first of all, we're from Taiwan, and I guess a lot of people know that Taiwan is really known for face masks. Actually, the world, I just heard from our manufacturer that actually, I think more than 70% of face masks are actually produced in Taiwan, whether they say they're a Korean brand, a Taiwanese brand, or any other country brand. Actually, a lot of the manufacturing factories are based out of Taiwan. And so we take pride in face masks, and I personally love using them for a huge reason because you can actually carry them easily. I never have to check if they're below 100 ml to carry on flights because you know for sure that they're easy to grab and go. You can choose different kind of usages, different flavors per se for different usages, and it's a great pick me up, especially like you mentioned on flights before we land. And when it's so dry in the airplane, it's really helpful to kind of have like a booster before you get off the flight. And I know there are a lot of face masks kind of out there that you can choose from, but a lot of them you need to worry about washing them off afterwards. And I guess if you fly it a lot, right before landing, the restrooms are usually the busiest. And it's so much easier if you can just, sit there, have your face moisturized and kind of boosted with water, and you look radiant, and then you just take off the face mask, throw it away once you get off the flight, or leave it in the trash bin on the flight, and you're ready to go. So I would say face masks have always been my to-go to start with on flights. Having come across Organic, I really like it for one of the reasons is because they use this face mask fabric that is actually a bit clearer. It's thinner and clearer, made from Japan. It's called Bemley's TM. And it's less scary because I don't know if you've come across friends or girlfriends having their face masks on in the evenings or like when we have pajama parties. And sometimes when they kind of walk around, it's scary because it's like all white, and then like you have someone long hair, white face, walk around the house. But with the Organic, yeah. But with this, so that's actually one of the reasons sometimes I find it a bit embarrassing having the face mask on when other people are around. I am a bit conscious about it. But with the Bemley's mask, it's very transparent. So to be very honest, we were at Nature Product West earlier a few weeks ago, and we actually all had our face masks on like at the booth because we wanted people to also know what a face mask is, how it looks like, how the effects are. And we literally had people come by and then come back 10, 15 minutes later to check on our skin condition and see like, if it was better. And I didn't feel so like embarrassed because I knew that I wouldn't look that scary with this type of face mask on.
That is so cool. I feel like we kind of missed each other at the event. And so, I mean, that thing is so huge. I don't even know if
yeah, it's
it's
huge.
so crazy. Okay, let's talk about pregnancy. We have so many listeners that are pregnant for the first time or second time, and why pregnancy is a time many women turn to Ina Organics.
Yeah, so we actually wanted to talk about pregnancy. We actually talk about pregnancy a lot because Cecily, our founder, the female founder, she actually really, like you said, she was one of those moms that had sensitive skin herself, but in general, like you could find stuff on the market that you still feel comfortable with. But when you're pregnant, you really think about like whatever you put on your skin goes into your blood and it goes to your baby. And that's when she started really getting conscious about all the ingredients that go into all the skin products she uses. And that's when you realize like there's fragrance, there's like all these hydroquinone, all these names that like I can read, but I don't know how to pronounce, that go into your products. And so a lot of people ask us if the ENA organic products are all safe to use during pregnancy. To be very honest, we would say yes, but for some people, because most of our face masks and like the frankincense oil and frankincense face lotion series, they all have essential oil. They're not fragrance, but they're essential oil. And for some people, I mean, if you use essential oil, you know that they do regulate hormones. And in that case, sometimes we do suggest that if you're in your first 3 months of pregnancy, you might want to be a bit more careful, test out small batches. And it also depends on how, I mean, every mother is different and everyone reacts differently, especially in the first 3 months when our body, the mother and the baby are still kind of getting used to each other and hormones and the body is adjusting. So that's really a general kind of suggestion. But a lot of users of ours actually turned and stuck with ENA Organic because during their pregnancy time, because that's when they realize, oh, clean ingredients are very important. And I really want to know what goes into what I use is safe. And ENA Organic has both certifications to kind of soothe their concerns over the ingredients that go in. Oh, and I think I missed out on mentioning this as well, because a lot of people actually say, oh, if all the ingredients are transparent on your bottle, then why can't I make it at home myself? Our answer to that is actually because the process is also regulated under EWG verified and COSMOS certified. A lot of people told me they didn't know that, but like, for example, COSMOS actually sends people to our Taiwan factory every year to check on the process, make sure that the factory itself holds itself up to a high sanitization standard. And that's actually very important because, for example, face mask itself, they're in a damp kind of condition. I remember you asking me why it's so wet, because like that's where all the serum is. And you can imagine if it's not sanitized, how many germs can grow in this type of environment. And so this whole ingredient plus manufacturing process is all under the verification type of, I would say, microscope to make sure that it holds up to like a safe standard for all the users that come across our products.
That's great. Thank you so much for including that and letting us know. So now I kind of want to get into how you're giving back, because I love to highlight founders, brands, companies that are giving back in some way, and I know that you are, and so I'd love for you to touch on that.
Thank you. Yeah, so coming back to ENA Organic, the name ENA in Taiwanese, I would say it's Yina, so that's Taiwanese. It really means kids. And like we said previously, Cecily, our founder, she started the brand because of her kids. And a lot of our users are moms with younger children. One reason we heard from one of our users is because she said there are clean products out there or other products that she'll put on her face, but when her kid comes to hug her or want to kind of snuggle up, she'd be worried if any of these ingredients get on their faces. So with ENA, you don't have to worry about it. And so we really wanted to kind of give back also towards this community of children. And so the company has pledged from the beginning to donate 1% of revenue to children education-related foundations. For example, last year we were donating to a library setup in the Eastern Taiwan region, building libraries for children to kind of be able to read and learn and grow. And so this is the essence of our brand, and we will continue doing this giving back donation every year.
That's amazing. Thank you for your contribution. I love that you're staying in alignment with to the name of your brand, to the end result of everything you do. And I thank you so much for coming, doing this mini episode and sharing so much knowledge about EWG and the different verifications and all the stuff. We'll have to bring you back on soon. And I really do appreciate you. And I hope all the listeners can get some masks. Are we going to set up a code for them to go use?
Yeah, we can we'll be setting up a code, and just like by way of introducing where you might be able to meet us, we'll be following EWG Verified around. They've been setting up pop-ups like the ones we've met all over the US. For example, later, 2 weeks later, we're going to Seattle and Portland. They also have like Chicago and the East Coast planned as well. So if you also want to kind of try us out, see us in person, talk to us, we will be starting to join more events as well.
Okay. If it wasn't for my mentor, I would have never known about that event. I'm so thankful to her because of EWG. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and I used to live in Seattle. So did my fiance. So I know I have a lot of listeners up in that area. So if you guys are interested in the cleaner beauty, you can go to these events, try the products, even get some free product. So definitely go subscribe to EWG, the Environmental Working Group, online.org, and make sure that you register for the event, because I know that it does limit, how many people go. And it's almost, I felt like she was like invited, but maybe, I think that they're trying to open this up to the public so more people are aware and can try these brands. And I got to try so many amazing ones that
Yeah, I mean, if you sign up, you get free kind of samples and you get a bit more of insights on all the brands, but it's open to public because we as newer brands and EWG in this realm of skin deep verifications, we do want more people to know about it.
Yes, and so do I, and that's why we had you on, and I'm so glad. So I hope you get to
Thank
the
you.
Washington team. I have a whole beauty counter team up there and a whole clean beauty team that is just so amazing.
Oh, wow.
So we'll have to, once you know the dates, let us know and we'll post them on our website, on the podcast, and get that out there for everybody. And just make sure you guys are following her, you guys on Instagram. So let them know where they can find you directly.
Oh, right. Yeah. We are on Instagram. We are Ina Organic US. And we also have our website where you can find all the face masks, all the products, all the ingredients are on there as well. It's inaorganic.us for the website. And ring us up, message us. We'd love to talk to everyone in the United States. We're new here, so let us know your feedback.
Yeah, that's so great. I am so excited. I actually need some new face masks. So
we'll have some your way soon.
And can't wait to try the new products too. Exciting. I can't wait to see what you guys do next. And next time you're in the Bay Area, stop by and say hi. All right, so that's it for this week's episode on the Clean Beauty Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to head over to iTunes to review, rate, and subscribe to the channel. Until next week, stay beautiful.